My ex texted, demanding I pay for her new wedding. You owe me for all the years I lost. I responded, interesting math. Then I sent her a detailed invoice for the debts she ran up on my credit cards during our lost years. Her new fiancé saw the bill and was now demanding answers from her. I, 34 was enjoying a quiet Tuesday evening, scrolling through my phone while half watching some forgettable Netflix show, when the text came through. A name I hadn't seen on my screen in almost 2 years. My stomach dropped as if I'd just missed a step on the stairs. We need to talk. Call me. Just like that. No hello. No how are you. Classic her. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity got the better of me. Instead of calling, I texted back, "What's up?" 3 dots appeared immediately. She was typing a novel, apparently. When it finally came through, I had to read it twice to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. I'm getting married in September, and I need you to help pay for the wedding. You owe me for all the years I lost being with you. I could have found someone better if you hadn't wasted my time. $15,000 should cover it. I'll send you my Venmo. I nearly choked on my beer. The audacity was breathtaking. We'd been divorced for almost 2 years after a 5-year marriage that ended when I discovered she'd been cheating with a co-worker for the last 8 months of our relationship. The same co-worker she was apparently now marrying. Our divorce had been messy but final. I'd walked away with less than I deserved just to be done with it all. What I didn't know then, but discovered about 6 months after the divorce was finalized, was that she had racked up nearly $23,000 in debt across my credit cards during our last year together. She'd opened statements before I could see them, intercepted mail, and created online accounts with my information. By the time I untangled the financial mess, my credit was shot, and she was long gone. I set my phone down and walked to my office, where I kept a folder labeled Never Again. Inside was a meticulously documented spreadsheet of every fraudulent charge, complete with dates, amounts, and where possible, what was purchased. I'd never pursued legal action, partly because I just wanted to move on and partly because I wasn't sure I could prove she had made the charges without my knowledge. I took a photo of the spreadsheet summary page showing the $22,876.44 total, then typed out a reply. Interesting math. Here's my calculation of what you owe me for the lost years. I'll accept payment in full before responding to your request. I attached the photo and hit send, then went back to my show, heart pounding, but feeling strangely liberated. My phone exploded with notifications. First texts, then calls, which I ignored. Then more texts, increasingly frantic and profane. I turned my phone to silent and went to bed. The next morning, I woke to a different tone in her messages. Please delete what you sent. He saw it on my phone. He's asking questions I can't answer. This isn't fair. I smiled to myself. Apparently, her fiancé didn't know about her spending habits or her creative approach to other people's credit. I typed back a simple response. Sounds like a conversation you should have before marriage. Consider it my wedding gift. Then I blocked her number. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. That afternoon, I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. It was him, the fiancé, asking if we could meet to discuss some concerns. I agreed to coffee the following day. When I arrived at the cafe, he was already there, looking haggard and confused. He'd seen the spreadsheet and confronted her. She'd admitted to borrowing from my cards occasionally, but insisted I was exaggerating the amount to get back at her for leaving me. He wasn't sure what to believe. I pulled out my folder and showed him everything. Statements, the police report I'd filed but never pursued, even photos of some of the items she'd purchased that I'd discovered hidden in our storage unit after she moved out. I'm not telling you what to do, I said as I gathered my evidence back into the folder. But patterns tend to repeat. He nodded slowly, staring into his untouched coffee. The wedding's off, he said quietly. At least for now. I need to figure some things out. I felt a twinge of sympathy for him. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I know what it feels like. As I stood to leave, he looked up. She said you were controlling and abusive with money, that you monitored every penny she spent. I laughed without humor. I wish I had been. Maybe I wouldn't have spent the last 2 years rebuilding my credit and paying off her debts. I walked out feeling lighter than I had in years. Not because I potentially ruined her new relationship, though I can't say I was sad about it, but because I'd finally stood up for myself in a way I never had during our marriage. That evening, I received one final email from her. You've ruined everything. Again, I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. Instead, I deleted the email, then went to my files and moved the Never Again folder to the shredder. I didn't need it anymore. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate or planned. Sometimes it's just the simple truth, delivered at exactly the right moment. Update 1. It's been about 3 weeks since the coffee shop meeting with the fiancé. I honestly thought I was done with this chapter of my life, but apparently, the universe had other plans. Last Friday, I was grabbing drinks with coworkers when I got a call from an unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but something told me to step outside and answer. Hello. Hey, it's me. The fiancé. Can we talk? We agreed to meet at the same cafe the next day. When I arrived, he looked better than before, less haunted, more resolved. I broke it off completely, he said without preamble. After our talk, I did some digging of my own. Found out she'd already opened 2 credit cards in my name. One was maxed out. I winced. I'm sorry. He shook his head. Don't be. You did me a favor. He slid an envelope across the table. That's why I wanted to see you. Inside was a check for $5,000. I can't pay all of what she owes you, but I can help with this much. She used my savings for the ring and wedding deposits, so this is all I can manage right now. I tried to refuse, but he insisted. It's not just for you. It's for me too. I need to do this to move on. I understood that feeling all too well. We talked for another hour. About how she'd manipulated both of us, about the red flags we'd ignored, about the process of rebuilding after financial betrayal. It was strangely therapeutic to compare notes with someone who truly understood. As we were leaving, he mentioned that she'd been telling mutual friends I was harassing them and trying to sabotage their happiness out of jealousy. Just so you know what she's saying, he warned. I thanked him for the heads up, but assured him I wasn't concerned. People who know me know better. And people who believe her without question aren't people I need in my life anyway. I deposited his check the next day and immediately donated half to a nonprofit that helps people recover from financial abuse. The rest I put toward a vacation I'd been saving for. A small reward for finally closing this chapter. Or so I thought. Update 2. 2 months have passed since my last update, and I was genuinely moving on with my life. I'd started dating someone new, taking it slow, being cautious but optimistic. My credit score was finally back in the good range. Things were looking up. Then yesterday, I received a certified letter from a law firm representing my ex. She was suing me for defamation, claiming I had maliciously spread false information causing irreparable harm to her reputation and resulting in significant emotional distress and financial losses. The letter detailed how she'd lost her job after her employer supposedly heard about her alleged financial misconduct from an anonymous source, how her family had cut her off based on lies I'd told, and how she'd had to seek therapy for the trauma I'd caused by vindicatively destroying her relationship. The amount she was seeking in damages? Exactly $22,876.44, the precise amount she'd stolen from me. The pettiness was almost admirable. I called a lawyer friend who agreed to look over the letter. His assessment was blunt. This is bullshit. You can't defame someone with the truth, and she'd have to prove you were the one spreading information, which you weren't. This is just intimidation. He offered to write a response for a nominal fee, which I gladly paid. His letter was a masterpiece of professional fuck-off language, essentially saying that truth is an absolute defense against defamation, that I had documentation of every fraudulent charge, and that if she pursued this frivolous lawsuit, I would countersue for the original fraud and seek additional damages for legal harassment. We sent it certified mail, return receipt requested. 2 days later, I got a text from a new number. You think you're so smart. This isn't over. I didn't respond, but I did forward it to my lawyer friend, who added it to our documentation of harassment. That evening, I received an unexpected call from her sister, with whom I'd always had a decent relationship. She wanted to meet, saying there were things I should know. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Over coffee, she revealed that my ex was spiraling. After the broken engagement, she'd moved back in with their parents, lost her job for unrelated misconduct, and had been bad-mouthing me to anyone who would listen. Few people were buying it. She's always been like this, her sister admitted. Making herself the victim, never taking responsibility. Our parents enabled it for years, but even they're at their limit now. She looked at me apologetically. I should have warned you before you married her. I just thought maybe she'd changed. I assured her it wasn't her fault. We talked a while longer, and she promised to let me know if my ex escalated beyond legal threats. As we were leaving, she hugged me awkwardly. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're free of her. And I hope this new girl appreciates what she's got. I was surprised she knew about my new relationship, but didn't ask how. Small town, mutual acquaintances, information travels. When I got home, I told my new girlfriend everything. We'd been dating for just over a month, and I'd given her the broad strokes of my marriage before, but now I shared all the details. The theft, the confrontation, the legal threats. I half expected her to run for the hills, but instead, she listened carefully, asked thoughtful questions, and then said something that nearly floored me. Thank you for trusting me with this. It can't have been easy to be that vulnerable again after what happened. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe the worst was behind me. Not because the drama with my ex was necessarily over, I'm not that naive, but because I finally felt equipped to handle whatever came next. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm happy to report that life has settled into a peaceful rhythm. The lawsuit threat from my ex evaporated after my lawyer friend's response. According to mutual acquaintances, she moved to another state for a fresh start after her parents finally cut her off financially. The former fiancé and I have developed an unlikely friendship. We meet for beers occasionally and have even started a small support group for people recovering from financial abuse. It's been surprisingly healing to help others navigate the mess I went through. My relationship with the new woman in my life continues to grow stronger. We're taking things at a reasonable pace, but for the first time since my divorce, I'm thinking about a future with someone. The difference in how we handle finances is night and day compared to my marriage. Everything is transparent. We have honest conversations about money, and there's a level of trust I'd forgotten was possible. Last week, I received an unexpected email from my ex. I almost deleted it unread, but decided to face whatever it contained. I'm in therapy now. Real therapy, not just saying it to manipulate people. My therapist suggested I make amends where possible. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know I recognize the harm I caused. I'm enclosing the first of what will be monthly payments toward what I took from you. It's not much, but it's a start. Attached was a receipt for a $200 transfer to my account. I sat with that email for a long time, unsure how to feel. Part of me was skeptical. This wouldn't be the first time she'd feigned growth to get what she wanted. Another part wondered if people really can change that fundamentally. After discussing it with my girlfriend and the former fiancé, I decided to accept the payments without engaging further. If this was genuine remorse, the money would continue coming without me needing to provide validation. If it was another manipulation tactic, it would become clear soon enough. 3 months later, she sent $600 total, not life-changing, but consistent. I've put it all in a separate account, partly because I'm still not convinced this isn't some elaborate setup, and partly because I'm not sure I want her money anymore. The debt has been paid off, my credit is repaired, and accepting her payments feels like keeping a connection I'm not sure I want. Yesterday, I made a decision. I emailed her. I've received your payments. While I appreciate the gesture toward making amends, I've realized that continuing this arrangement keeps us connected in ways that aren't healthy for either of us. I'm choosing to consider the matter closed. I wish you well in your continued therapy and hope you find peace. I then donated the $600 to the financial literacy nonprofit I've been volunteering with and closed that chapter for good. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even or even getting paid back. Sometimes it's just moving forward so completely that the past loses its power over you. The spreadsheet that once documented every penny she stole now seems like an artifact from someone else's life. Interesting, but no longer relevant to who I am today. As for my ex demanding I pay for her wedding, that feels like it happened in another lifetime. If there's a lesson in all of this, it's that the most valuable currency isn't money. It's truth, self-respect, and the wisdom to recognize when it's time to let go.